What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today is September the 23rd. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money's focusing on today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data, we do have a couple big ones to watch for. Big bad Powell at 11:35, and then we have a lot of manufacturing data. So we have both Richmond and S&P. So S&P is coming out pretty much right after the bell, and then Richmond is right after that. So we have composite, manufacturing, and services. So that could make for a very interesting time depending on some of the data. And then we do have another Fed speaker, Bowman, at 8 a.m. So all in all, we do have some opportunity for some volatility. It's all going to come down to the data. In the case of S&P, you can kind of see current forecasts are 54.1, 52, and then 53. 50 is a key pivot. Anything below 50 shows more of a contraction. Anything above 50 shows more of an expansion. So the last couple of data points have been fairly optimistic. So we'll kind of look to see if that is going to be the same or if it's going to be a negative surprise. So that's kind of what's to watch for. You still do see the fear and greed index under the greed category. So in theory, people's appetite for risk is on the table. And then so far, the futures are looking pretty a-okay. So Dow is up 0.18, S&P up 0.06, NASDAQ up 0.03. Even though I'm going to be bringing up what big money is kind of focusing on, it's still a little bit on the low end for the volume. So clearly goes to show that there's a certain level of hesitation. Maybe big money is truly waiting for some of these data points to come out before fully committing. I'm not really sure. So let me know your general thoughts on that. But getting right to it, SoFi is up slightly, just piggybacking off the broader market. And this, I believe yesterday during the overnight, was the first time it didn't actually hit a new high. So possibly you might see a certain level of consolidation today. Or again, it might just come straight down to the data points. Big money might be just waiting for some justified reason to really push SoFi higher. But one point to really watch for today, with it right now at 29.86, trading between this R3 and this R2. So 30.25, that's where it kind of bounced off of yesterday. So it had a new all-time high of 30.30. So just watch for it to get above that 30.25. So hopefully we do get some pretty good data, pushes just SoFi and many other stocks higher. And then shorts, oddly, were a little bit more active yesterday, but still very low stuff. 8.68% of the free floats being shorted. So again, just kind of watch for them. If anything, they might be a little bit more active Thursday, Friday with GDP and also PCE. And then moving on from here, NIO is down slightly. So the market's digesting their kind of weekly registration numbers, which came in pretty good. So I'll kind of go over that in my dedicated NIO video, because since I cover NIO on this channel, so I won't really dive deep into that all that much during the pre-market. But yeah, during the overnight, NIO was actually selling off quite significantly. So I was able to catch some at 6.74. So that's kind of the good thing about having overnight trading. So if you guys don't have, for instance, IBKR, Robinhood, or someone else, definitely might recommend getting some, because that's where you can get some pretty good deals, in my opinion. But nonetheless, though, so far it's down slightly, so nothing too crazy. Shorts, 7.7% of the free float is being shorted. So every single day I do post on my Patreon for free all of this data, and shorts did return a lot yesterday. And so yeah, interesting kind of stuff. They returned about 6-point-something million. So yeah, lucky 777, so I don't know if that's a good sign or not, but 136.31 million shares overall are being shorted. So it will be very interesting to see what shorts do in the next maybe month, because they've returned a ton. They've returned a massive amount. Went from about 13% short interest to where it is now, and that's unheard of for NIO. One point to watch for, though, with it at 6.89, it is trading between this R2 and this R1, so 6.80 will be a strong support, so just watch for that. If not, you'll see more for the consolidation. Flip side, 7.38 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. Moving on from here, hologram. It is up 25.9%. So I used to cover this stock quite significantly on one of my other YouTube channels, and it wasn't me pumping it or anything. It was actually quite the opposite. I was calling it out. So every time hologram goes through these spikes higher, such as what you can kind of see right here, even during like these kind of crazy things right here, these massive spikes, people get excited like crazy, shout that it's going to be a squeeze play, and they become bag holders. Just on a spoiler alert, these pushes higher, and so these spikes, you can make a pretty good amount of money by trading it if you're experienced, but it is all dilution. There's no news, no SEC filings at all. And if we look over at the dilution tracker, this is all the damaging convertible notes. All of this is dilution. So again, you guys do whatever the hell you want. I'm not here to get you to do anything, but just be aware that the spike today is dilution. So it usually lasts anywhere from about half a day to about a day and a half, possibly even 2 days, but it does go and it just ceases very fast and then it just tanks. So again, do your own due diligence. If you're very experienced with technicals, getting in and out, have at it. But in this case, definitely just practice caution. And it's not shorted that much. So 7.15% of the free float's being shorted. But then again, if there's excessive dilution that's been occurring behind the scenes, then that number is wrong. And just to give you a quick overview of that, so you can kind of see just generally when it does actually dilute. Normally it goes like this, then you have a 9.5 million issuance. This is as well, you can kind of see it spiked from 456 to 521, closed at 451. So that spike lasted about half a day. No different than if we look back, this 52.5 million in July, that's at that time I was still actually covering it before I just said, you know what, anyone who wants to kind of drink the poison, go for it. This one, you can kind of see how it went from 604 to 699, then closed at 691. So again, if you're experienced, have at it. This one is more on the complex side. Moving on, Open Door. So it is down 3.94%. And honestly, there hasn't really been any news from the company to justify this. Rather, a lot of the big speculative names such as Kaz and Eric, I think some people are losing a little bit of confidence. And plus there was a 144 that was submitted after hours yesterday, which did signal that there was some institution that sold, what was it, right over here, 11.3 million shares. So again, just the sentiment is kind of switching up a little bit, but it does look like it's recovering a little bit. 23.44% of the free float's being shorted, works to be 156 million shares overall being shorted. Right now with it at 826, it is trading currently above all the fib levels. So 818 is going to be that key point to really watch for it to hold. That's if it does push lower. If not, 860. So it might trade within that range possibly, but if you believe in Open Door, definitely have at it and buy the dip. And then moving on to ticker GLTO. This one's another interesting one. And usually from my standpoint, whenever I see a stock spiking when there's been absolutely no news, so no press releases, no SEC filings, and even on like all my other kind of platforms, there's nothing coming out, it usually makes me worried a little bit. And then I instantly pop over to Dilution Tracker. They only have one convertible note or a preferred share that's coming due October 2025. So potentially today as well, similar to Hologram, could be linked to dilution. So just tread cautiously in my opinion, because yeah, I think I don't see any news whatsoever. But one interesting thing is this is the most heavily traded stock so far in the market during the pre-market. So again, if you want to day trade, swing trade, or whatever else, this one might be a good one, but just practice caution, of course. And it's not heavily shorted, so only 1.36% of the free float's being shorted, works to be 16.52 thousand shares. So ultimately, this won't be that big of a deal. And because of the recent price action, it's above all the key fib levels. So just watch for 411 ultimately to be a good support level. If that does break, then anticipate most likely 370. So set tight stop losses with this and also Hologram. But again, you guys do your own due diligence. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks I mentioned. Is there any other stocks that you're kind of trading? If so, throw some tickers in the description below. One final thing, if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.